I'm a mom of four, so I'm homeschooling my children. So I have to, I have these 10-hour days, and a lot of times I'm not home until 8 o'clock at night.
That's Lisa DiMaria. Her and her husband, Raed Ayob, founded Salon Topaz 14 years ago. They said they've never worked harder than they are now.
Usually after 14 years, you tend to kind of let the business go into cruise control so that you could kind of like relax and really enjoy your time with your family and everything. But lately, like Lisa and I are working longer hours, longer days. We're here more than ever because we have to make sure that the business survives. This business, is our bread and butter and puts food on our table.
Salon Topaz reopened on June 9th, and while they're now doing cuts 7 days a week, there were tense moments along the way.
From a financial standpoint, we were hit hard. In the beginning, like my wife said, we didn't know what this was all about. So when they told us to close, we understood. My wife and I, we have 4 kids, and we wanted to make sure that we were safe so that we didn't bring anything back to our family, of course. But as time went by, and then you started hearing more stories, but then you saw the Home Depots, the Walmarts, the BJs jam-packed with people. Then you were like, wait a minute, what's going on? Like, why is this establishment open, and they're allowing all these people, and it's craziness. But my wife can be doing one-on-one services in the salon without anybody around. Why was that not safe? So then that's what I started getting frustrated and really upset and pissed off,
As the owner of Barre3 Rivertowns, a workout studio in Dobbs, Becca Licht was forced to close her doors through late September. Nevertheless, she had a different mindset on the prolonged shutdowns.
If the governor felt like it wasn't safe for us to be back in there, and he's the one listening to more scientists than I have access to, like the relatively significant restrictions that are placed on the operation of my business, are they hard to deal with? Yes. Are they also for the greater good and for public health? I think so.
As a new business that opened in May 2019, Licht had high hopes for Barre3 in 2020.
Every month before the pandemic, I would set ambitious goals. And, as a sole entrepreneur, you end up with a lot of self-worth tied to whether or not you make those goals and whether or not you are continuing to grow your business to the extent that you expect and want to. So it has been really disappointing, frankly, to have to put those goals that I had for my business, to put the business plan that I had for the rest of 2020 and into 2021 off to the side.
Barre3 used to run 30 classes a week. Now Licht and others have had to completely change their strategies.
In July, when it was clear that we weren't going to be able to reopen in studio, but we were able to gather in larger groups outside, we started hosting some socially distanced outdoor classes. We were permitted to reopen in studio at 33% of our original capacity as of September. Right now, we have 5 classes that are outdoors, 5 classes a week that are indoors, and 10 classes a week, more or less, that are on Zoom.
Turns out, innovative ideas are what kept businesses like Topaz and the Parlor down the street afloat during the early months.
My wife came up with this idea of doing color to-go kits. What we did is we formulated their color, and we set up a little table outside, and they would pay over the phone, and they would call us when they were coming, and we'd set up appointments, and we'd put the bag outside, and they would take the bag and do their color at home. That literally saved our business, where we were able to pay our rent and pay the electric, the phone bill, and stuff like that.
We did this sort of charitable concept that was called Dough for Dough, meaning that every pizza that we made, if you donated one, right, we would match that donation. So it was so much fun because every day we get phone calls from different hospitals or different people who are like, my husband works in the emergency room at St. John's, and I want to do 75 pizzas over there. So they donate 35 or whatever it is, and it was incredible.
Salon Topaz has set up 2 outdoor cutting stations, and the Parlor now has open-air seating and a tiki bar. Though new projects like these cost money, the businesses have used the community as motivation.
Being essential and being open gave us the opportunity to actually do exactly what it was set out to do, and that was really not even just to go and kind of restructure and find a business, but more to provide for the community and do what we could, because that motivated us every day to come in and do what we do best, which was cook great food for people who want it or need it.
Additionally, the Parlor, Salon Topaz, and Barre3 received stimulus through the Paycheck Protection Program, but with the government's failure to negotiate a new stimulus bill, lack of leadership, and inability to contain the coronavirus, the owners don't know how long this new normal is sustainable.
It has helped, especially with payroll, but is it enough? No, absolutely not. For the 3 months that I was closed, not even close to what I would have made.
My ability to run my business safely is one thing, and that requires there to be a vaccine, and it requires there to be like less community spread of the coronavirus. But a second and equally important thing is rebuilding the trust of any consumer or any client who wants to come through the door. And that I don't think is going to change until there's like a significantly different attitude about running the pandemic, both federally and in New York.
Still, Barre tries to remain optimistic.
It's tight as hell. We are in the shit right now. But with that being said, proper money management, and again, leading with your passion, right? Because I'll say, I always say to people, when you do what you love and you're passionate about it, money will come and business will come.
If you take a walk into Dobbs Ferry, you'll see that so many of the businesses have by no means been as fortunate as those who I spoke with today. And if we're looking more broadly across the United States, roughly 1 in 6 small businesses have been unable to reopen since the start of the coronavirus pandemic. Now, these small business owners who I spoke with are well aware of this, which is why they continue to be so grateful for the customers who support them. I'm Logan Schiciano, TBN, Dobbs Ferry.